In today's lesson, we are going to talk about comparing fractions. Now, we compare fractions when we want to know one fraction is greater than or less than another fraction. For instance, 9/11ths and 7/13ths, which one is bigger? All right, well, something useful to keep in mind when we're talking about comparing fractions, remember that we can multiply a fraction by any number as long as we multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the same thing. So 4/4, or 4 divided by 4, is equal to 1. So when we multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number, it's the same as multiplying the fraction by 1, which, as we know, multiplying anything by 1 does not change the value. Now, if Maya ate 5/8 of a pie and Caleb ate 3/4 of a pie, how can we determine who ate more pie? Well, it's easiest to compare fractions if their denominators are the same. So we're going to compare 5/8 and 3/4, and we can see that the denominators are different, and we need them to be the same. Well, we also remember that we can multiply the numerator and denominator by a number, and we don't change the value. We just said that, right? So we can see that 4 is a factor of 8. So we know that 4 times 2 equals 8. So we need to multiply this fraction by 2. So we have to multiply both the top and the bottom by 2. So we're going to multiply 3 times 2, which is 6, and 4 times 2, which is 8. So now these, because 3/4 and 6/8 are equivalent fractions, so we can now compare 5/8 and 6/8 because they now have the same denominator. So if we look at, we're going to take this circle, we're going to look at it visually first, and divide this circle into 8 equal pieces, and this numerator tells us that we need to shade 5 pieces. And this one here is the same. We're going to take this circle, divide it into 8 equal pieces, and we're going to shade 6 of them. And we can see that more of the circle is shaded for 6/8, which means that 5/8 is less than 6/8, which also means that Caleb ate more pie than Maya. Now, when the denominators are the same, we only have to look at the numerators to determine which of the fraction is bigger. So 9/12 and 6/12, the denominators are the same, so we simply need to compare the numerators. Because remember, if we divide the whole into 12 equal pieces, 9 pieces is going to be shaded more than 6 pieces. So we can compare the numerators. 9 is greater than 6, so we know that 9/12 is greater than 6/12. And if we look at that visually, again, we have these two circles divided into 12 equal pieces. We're going to shade 9 here, and we're going to shade 6 here. And we can see that in this one, there is more of the circle is shaded than this one, so this one is the bigger fraction. Now, Adam and Cody are both reading the Hardy Boys series of books. Adam has read 5/7 of the books, and Cody has read 3/7 of the book. Who has read more? So we're comparing 5/7 and 3/7, and we can see that both of them have the same denominator. So we only need to compare the numerators. So we know that 5 is greater than 3, and that tells us that 5/7 is greater than 3/7, which also tells us that Adam has read more books. Now, which fraction is bigger, 8/12 or 3/4? Again, we can see that the denominators are not the same, and we need them to be the same. So remember, keep in mind again that we can multiply the numerator and denominator by a number, and we don't change the value as long as we multiply both the numerator and denominator by the same number. So we know that 4 is a factor of 12, and in this case, 4 times 3 equals 12, which means that we have to multiply this fraction by 3. So we have to multiply both the top and the bottom by 3, and 3 times 3 gives us 9, 4 times 3 gives us 12. So now the fractions have these same denominators. We can simply compare the numerators. So 8/12 and 9/12, and we know since the denominators are the same, we only have to compare the numerators, and 8 is less than 9. So that means that 8/12 is less than 9/12. Again, let's look at it in the circles. We've got these two circles divided into 12 equal pieces, and we're going to shade 8 of them here. We shade 9 of them here, and we can see that more of the circle is shaded in the 9/12. So 8/12 is less than 3/4, because we're going back to our original question where we had to compare 8/12 and 3/4. Now compare 7/9 and 4/5. All right, well, again, you can see that our denominators are different, so we need them to be the same. So now these denominators are not factors of each other, and so we have to change both of the fractions. All right, well, the easiest way to make the fractions the same, or to have the same denominator, is by just simply multiplying the denominators of the fractions together. So if we multiply 9 and 5, we get 45, and it is a common denominator. And so that's fine. We need to, now that we know that our common denominator is 45, we need to find the equivalent fractions. So we're going to start with 7/9. And what did we have to multiply 9 by to get 45? Well, we had to multiply 9 by 5 to get 45. And if we were going to multiply the denominator by 5, we have to multiply the top, or the numerator, by 5 as well in order to have equivalent fractions, because we don't want to change the value. So 7 times 5 gives us 35. So 7/9 is equivalent to 35/45. And now we want to do the exact same thing. What did we have to multiply 5 by to get 45? Well, the answer is 9. So if we multiply 5 by 9, we have to also multiply 4 by 9. So 4 times 9 is 36. So 4/5 is equal to 36/45. And so now our denominators are the same, so we can compare the numerators. 35 and 36. 35 is less than 36, and so that tells us that 35/45 is less than 36/45. And if we go back to our original fractions, that means that 7/9 is less than 4/5. Now, Emily bought 3/7 of the items on her shopping list, and Henry bought 1/3 of the items on his shopping list. Who bought a greater fraction of the items on their shopping list? So we have two fractions, and we want to know which one is greater. So we have to compare those two, and we can see that they have different denominators, so we need them to be the same. Again, since they're not factors of each other, then we have to change both fractions. So 7 and 3, the easiest way is to multiply those denominators together to get 21, and that is now a common denominator. All right, so we need to find out how we get 21. So what did we have to multiply 7 by to get 21? And the answer is 3. So if we multiply the denominator by 3, we have got to multiply the numerator by 3 as well. So 3 times 3 gives us 9. So we have 9/21. It's equivalent to 3/7. And now let's do the same thing for 1/3. So what did we have to multiply 3 by to get 21? The answer is 7. So we have to also multiply the top by 7. 1 times 7 is 7. So now we've got 9/21 and 7/21. And since the denominators are the same, we can simply compare the numerators. And we know that 9 is bigger than 7, so it's greater than 7, which tells us that 9/21 is greater than 7/21. And that tells us, if we go back to the original fractions from the question, 3/7 is greater than 1/3. And so Emily bought more of the groceries on her list. And that's your lesson on comparing fractions.